Hi, in this video, we are going to discuss the continuation of our previous video, which is on how to write your research paper, particularly on Chapter 1. So this is about RRL, or the Review of Related Literature. So bear in mind that the Review of Related Literature is part of Chapter 1 under Introduction, and it comes right after the scope and delimitation. So here is an example of how it looks like when you connect or when you put a review of related literature in Chapter 1. So this is your scope and delimitation. Ito yung review of related literature. So yung word na review of related literature, naka-bold yan. And yung first letters, okay, first letters are in capital or uppercase form, and then yung preposition na of, so hindi nakakapitalized yan. The first paragraph of your RRL is indented, or each paragraph is indented. Ayan. And of course, naka-justify yan dyan. Alright? So, ano ba yung review of related literature? Ano ba yung nandyan? So, there are three parts of RRL, namely the variable 1, the variable 2, and the correlations between measures. So, sa review of related literature, ang first paragraph should start with the opening statement stating the parts of the RRL. So, ano ba yung nandyan sa RRL mo? Ano bang nakapaloob dyan? Okay? So, that will be answered by your first paragraph. And your second paragraph or continuation ng first paragraph, kung kukonti lang, should be the indicators of the variable 1 and variable 2. So, introduce mo dito yung indicators ng variable 1 and variable 2 with sources, of course. Saan mo nakuha yung mga indicators na yan? Okay? So, this is an example of an opening statement. This is taken from a thesis, or my thesis, entitled School Climate and Mathematical Dispositions of Grade 10 Students. So, sabi dito, this section contains readings and literature from different sources like journals, books, websites, articles, theses, and dissertations related to the study. So, ito, it simply tells your reader, saan mo ba nakuha yung mga literature na nakapaloob dito sa RRL mo? It starts with the definition and determinants of school climate and mathematical disposition. So, ito, it tells us na, oops, ito pala, it includes definition of school climate, definition of mathematical disposition, and also their determinants, their indicators. Okay? The independent variable in this study, dito, gumamit ng independent variable because it answers, it deals with influence, test of influence sa research na ito. However, sa inyo, since you are still on correlation of two variables, correlation between two variables, or relationship, test of relationship lang. So, we don't have independent variable and dependent variable. But, we call them variable 1 and variable 2. Or pwede ring variable A or variable B. And, or pwede ring the first variable and the second variable. So, you can say the first variable in this study is the school climate, while the second variable is the mathematical dispositions of grade 10 students. So, the discussion goes further to include other studies related to these variables as well as their indicators. Okay, so that's the first paragraph. And then the second paragraph, ito siya. The second paragraph should be about the indicators of your two variables at saka yung source kung saan mo nakuha. So, let's see. Researchers vary in the indicators that they use in measuring school climate. So, ito, totoo ito kasi iba-iba nga naman talaga yung mga indicators na ginamit for school climate. Okay? So, however, in this study, sabi ng researcher, in this study, school climate indicators include school safety, peer social climate, support, and expectations. Zander 2012. So, this part right here tells us the indicators of school climate na ginamit sa research na ito. And take note for technicalities, the indicators are in italics. Okay? Naka-italicized yung mga indicators. And small letters yan lahat. Okay? Small letters. 4 indicators ito: school safety, peer social climate, support, tapos comma pa yan before ang end, meaning this is the last indicator, and expectations. On the other hand, the assessment of the student mathematical dispositions, this is now the second variable. Okay? So, includes the evaluation of the following indicators. So, ito na yung mga indicators niyan. That's taken from National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, 1989, and kay Kizonzo, 2008. Okay. So, yun ang first two paragraphs ng parang opening statement ng RRL. So, it tells us, ano ba yung laman ng RRL mo? Okay. So, let's continue. This is another example of your opening statement of, parang opening ng RRL part ng paper. So, ito naman iba. Inuna niya yung indicators. Okay? So, the section begins with the concept, definition, and determinants of work attitude and organizational change readiness to give an overview of the recent study. The independent variable is work attitude with the indicators such as work satisfaction, job involvement, and organizational commitment. That's from Eliva, 1999. The dependent variable is organizational change readiness with the indicators change self-efficacy, personal balance, organizational balance, senior leadership support, and discrepancy. Holt et al., 2007. The discussion broadens to include other studies on the indicators of work attitudes and organizational change readiness and other related variables. Previous studies are also discussed to support and enrich the anchorage of the research topic. Sources of literature are taken from books, journals, magazines, newspaper articles, and electronic sources. Dito naman, parang iba siya ng style ng first example. So, dito nauna kung saan galing yun, ano ang sources, and then yung second paragraph is about the indicators of the two variables. Dito naman sa kanya, inuna niya yung introduce yung indicators, and then dito sa baba, sinunod yung, dito na nakalagay kung saan niya nakuha yung mga literature niya, related literature. Okay? So, either of the two formats, okay naman. As long as the opening statement would be about ano yung nakapaloob dyan sa RRL mo. Okay? So, dun tayo sa first part. So, which is the variable 1. So, this is how it looks like. So, yung variable 1 natin, ilagay mo talaga kung ano yung variable 1 mo. So, if your study is about parental involvement and self-esteem, so your variable 1 is parental involvement. So, ito yung ilalagay mo dito, parental involvement. And take note, technicalities tayo. It follows right after your opening statement, opening paragraphs. And then, 5 spaces lang yan, galing dito sa margin, or sa first, ano ba tawag dyan? Sa umpisa. Yan. 5 spaces lang yan. And then, naka-bold. First letter, capitalized. Yung paragraph, each paragraph are indented. So, 1 tab yung indent natin. Indention. So, first variable, yan. So, ayan ha. Yan yung itsura niya. So, ano ba yung nakapaloob sa first part ng RRL? So, yung first part ng RRL mo, the variable 1, it may start with a definition of your variable. Okay? Definitions of your variable. How it is defined in other studies. Okay? You can also mention, or you have to mention or discuss related studies or literature about your variable. So, discuss each of your indicators and mention related studies about them with source. So, yung per indicator mo, you should have 1 to 3 paragraphs per indicator. And in 1 paragraph, there should be at least 5 lines. Okay? Pero pag umabot na ng lumampasan ng 8 lines or 9 or 10 lines na yung isang paragraph mo, then you have to cut it na. It's too long for a paragraph already. Okay? Masyado na siyang mahaba. So, wag hayaan na yung isang buong page ay, isang paragraph lang. Okay? So, hindi maganda. everything in your RRL should be source. So, dapat may source tayo ha. So, yung format na gagamitin is author year system tayo. So, last name ng author, comma, and then year ng publication. All references should be within the last 5 years. Last 5 years. So, ngayon, 2020. So, sa RRL mo, you should have at least 2015. Okay? 2015. Kung resonation ang gamit mo, RRL. So, resonation RRL. Kung isang source lang, at least 5 years. So, pwede na yung 2015, 2016, and so on. Okay? Pero pwede ring old references. They are acceptable for inventory RRL, provided that one of the references is within the last 5 years of publication. So, example, pwede rin naman dalawang sources. So, isa yung old, pero yung isa yung pasok sa within 5 years of publication. Pwede yung tatlo ang sources, pwede yung dalawa, old references, basta may isa doon na pasok sa within 5 years of publication. So, halimbawa, 1989 or 2000 ang isa, pero yung isa 2016. So, pwede na yon. Okay? And yes, we are using author year system. So, this should be found sa last part ng sentence or yung last part ng thought or idea or fact na galing sa isang source. Okay? So, dito sa RRL natin, iwasan muna natin yung mga according to, as echoed by, yung mga as stated by, yung ganon. So, iwasan muna natin yan. Sa RRL, eto muna yung gagamitin natin. So, yung parenthesis, and then author, and then year publication, then close parenthesis. So, this is an example of a part in the first variable. So, this is again taken from school climate and mathematical disposition. So, this is about school climate. So, ito na siya. So, yung first parts niya ay definitions ng school climate. So, ito. A school climate that is best for, ito na, related studies na ito about school climate. So, yung mga first part na nandun sa previous page, mga definitions yan ng school climate. So, a school climate that is best for the students is one that promotes youth development and learning that is needed for a productive, contributive, and satisfying life in a democratic society. The school where there is a positive school climate is a place where people, both students and staff, feel socially, emotionally, and physically safe. It is a place where students and their families, educators, and school staff are engaged and respected. So, that's from CSEE 2010. Okay. So, kapag nagsulat kayo ng RRL, do not forget to rephrase or paraphrase the statement in the sentences. Do not copy verbatimly. Okay? Do not copy verbatimly. At saka huwag kayong maglagay ng thought or ng fact dyan na hindi nyo naman na-cite yung kung kanino galing yun. Okay? So, that is to avoid plagiarism. So, by the way, we are going to have another lesson, a separate lesson for plagiarism. How to avoid plagiarism. Okay? So, yung sabi kanina, sa first part, you have to discuss each of your indicators. So, in your variable, if you have 5 indicators, so you really have to discuss 5 indicators. Okay? All of your 5 indicators with at least 1 to 3 paragraphs per indicator. Example, ito. The first indicator of school climate is school safety. Okay? It is one of the most significant elements of which a student learn at school. So, etong paragraph na ito, itong sentence na ito, it is one of the significant elements of which student learn at school. Yan ay galing kay Kitsantas, Ware and Martinez Arias, 2004. Hence, students' feeling of safety at school is significant for their academic success. Research data show that students who feel safe, blah, 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 and so on. So, this paragraph right here is about school safety. Okay? It's about the indicator, which is school safety. Again, everything is sourced. So, as you have noticed here, yung sources, andito sa last part ng sentence. Right, so again, the sources of our literature are found in author year format. So, found at the end of the sentences. So, yan, kagaya nito, end of the sentences. Or, pwede rin siyang nasa gitna, basta nasa, kung nasan yung thought na kinuha mo dun sa source na yon, so dun siya nakalagay. Okay? So, halimbawa, aside from the fact that school safety is one of the determinants of school climate, so itong school safety is one of the determinants of school climate, so nakuha yan kay, of course, yung sources ng determinants ng school climate. So, etong thought na ito, galing na yan kay Kitsantas, hindi na galing kay Tapa. Okay? And also, when you write your RRL, you have to use transition words, like this one, however, to connect your paragraphs. So, yung word na however dito, somehow it tells us that the thought that the author is going to discuss here is somewhat different from the thought na na-discuss na. Okay? Parang contradiction siya ng thought na na-discuss previously. Okay? So, sabi dito, school climate, on the other hand, is recognized as one of the strongest predictors of student perceptions of school safety. However, many students have great fear in coming to school every day because of the violence and personal victimization that some of them experience in this place. Compared to the victims of bullying, research shows that those who were mere witnesses of bullying became more depressed, anxious, hostile, and inferior. That's from CSEE 2010. Moreover, also, this is another transition word. So, idagdag ko pa dyan, moreover, study shows that school safety and neighborhood violence have adverse effects on math and reading achievements of school children. Okay? So, again, this is about school safety. Okay? School safety. So, that's from Milam Verholden and Leaf 2010. Okay? So, tapos niyan, this is about the first indicator, right? So, now, yung second indicator naman. So, diba sabi ko 1 to 3 paragraphs per indicator. So, eto na tayo. The second indicator of school climate is peer social climate. So, every time you mention or you introduce the indicator, it should be in italics. Kaya yan. So, the second indicator of school climate is peer social climate. So, meaning this whole paragraph that follows would be about studies in literature about peer social climate. Okay? Now, your second paragraph is about your second variable, your variable 2. So, ito yung magiging itsura niya. So, etong paragraph na nandito sa unahan niya, this is about your first indicator. Or last indicator ng first variable. Okay? So, last indicator ng first variable. Now, follow kaagad si second variable. So, again, just like the first variable, naka-bold siya, and then yung first letters of each word are capitalized except for prepositions and connectors. Okay? Yung mga of, in, and, yung mga ganon. Okay. So, again, 5 spaces. Yan. Galing sa first dito. And so, yung each paragraph are indented. So, 1 tab yan. Right? So, ganun pa rin ha. Kung anong format ng first variable, yun din ang sa second variable. So, definition, and then, ano bang meron dito? Balikan natin. Si first variable. Okay, ayan. So, definitions and then related studies. Okay, you discuss your indicators. So, lahat, dapat may source. Yung references within the last 5 years, author year system. Ganun din sa second part ng variable 2. Okay? So, ang third part ng RRL ay ang correlation between measures. So, ito talaga yung title niya, correlation between measures. Ibig sabihin, yung relationship na ng dalawang variables mo. So, it should cite references that connect your first variable and your second variable. So, ito dito, pwede na sa inyo ang 3 to 5 paragraphs. So, okay na yan. Okay, so correlation between measures should cite references that connect your IV and DV. So, sa atin, wala naman tayong IV and DV. So, we have variable 1 and variable 2. So, lahat ng references that are cited in the RRL should also be found in your chapter 4. Okay? Pero i-discuss pa natin yan. Of course, we are still on chapter 1. So, this is an example of correlation between measures. So, this is the last indicator of your second variable. Okay, that's the last indicator of your second variable. Now, correlation between measures, the same as the first and second variable, naka-bold siya, and then capitalize ang first letter ng C at saka ng M, except for B, between, because this is not a noun. Okay, so, ano ba ito? Connector, conjunction yata yan. Okay, so 5 spaces din siya, galing dito sa first, and then yung each paragraph niya ay indented. So, basically, your correlation between measures are the studies that shows relationships about your two variables. So, pwede na dito, i-mention nyo din dito yung anchor study nyo. Okay, and any study, kahit na may kasama silang ibang variables, basta nakasaad doon or nakastate doon na related silang dalawa, yung variables na ginamit mo. So, example ito siya. So, again, this is on school climate and mathematical dispositions. Okay. So, there are a number of researches that reveal the relationship between school climate and dispositions of students towards learning. Okay, so hindi pa ito mathematical disposition. Dispositions of students towards learning. So, sino-sino yan? Sabi ko dito, there are a number of researches, meaning marami. So, kaya marami din akong source. This is an example of inventory, RRL. Okay, maraming sources. So, meron akong 2000, 2003, ayan, 2009, 2010, hanggang 2013. So, pasok sa banga yan. During this time, kasi this was published on 2017. So, pasok sa banga si 2013. Okay? So, ayan, school climate data can be utilized to develop not just the intellectual skills of the students, but also their dispositions which they need to succeed both in school and in life. So, galing kay Cohen et al. 2009. So, eto yun, school climate and disposition. So, it shows, somehow it shows the relationship of the two variables. Okay? So, furthermore, this is a transition word. Furthermore, when school climate improvement efforts become a community-wide effort, students develop not just their skills, but also their dispositions, So, galing yan kay Cohan, Maccabi, Micheli, and Pickerel 2009. Okay? Moreover, the study of blah, blah, blah. Okay, so basically, ganito yung correlation between measures. So, it states here the studies and literature that mentions about the correlation or the relationship of the two variables. Okay? So, ano ba yung general guidelines natin for RRL? So, again, you have to use transition words, gaya ng hence, however, likewise, in the same way, similarly, yung ganun, therefore, and so on. So, mga transition, moreover, furthermore, ganyan. So, all sources should be found in the references. Ito, madalas yung nakakaligtaan ng marami. Lahat ng sources mo na nilagay mo sa chapter 1, dun sa rational, sa RRL, dapat yan nakalagay lahat sa references. Okay? At saka nakasite. Okay? So, make sure to save them in APA. So, American, ano ba ito? Psychological Association yata ito. Referencing style. So, APA format tayo. Okay? So, the reference citations should follow the author year system. Websites should be located in the list of references after chapter 4. Okay? In case walang authors na nakasite or nakalagay na author, pwede lang name ng organization or title of the first 3 words of the title if the title is long, otherwise cite the title. Okay? So, pwede yung title na kung walang author. Okay? Kung meron namang author, walang problema. Author year system tayo. Yung last paragraph should be the synthesis of the RRL. Please refer to the completed thesis. I will give you a sample thesis para gawin yung guide or reference kung paano magsulat ng RRL. Okay? So, ayun. Ang last part ng RRL, di ba meron tayong correlations between measures. And then, after that, meron pa talagang last paragraph, and that should be your summary or synthesis of your RRL. Okay? And so, basically, that's it. So, I hope this video will help you in writing your review of related literature.